This week, the German constitution put together after Adolf Hitler's reign turns 70 years. So why am I telling you about this? Well, it's because several African countries, including South Africa, Namibia, and Ethiopia, built their constitutions on Germany's post-Hitler constitution, knowing the ills of Adolf Hitler's reign as well as the gross inequalities of the apartheid era in South Africa. Let's do a quick throwback on the relevance of these constitutional connections. And we'll cross over to our partners DW for more on this. Malte Rover Kalman is DW reporter. He joins me all the way from Germany. Malte, it's good to have you. Now, let's look back 70 years. What is it that makes the German basic law special, and why was it created in the first place?
Yes, exactly. We have to see this whole thing in the historical context. It was just after World War II. Large parts of Germany were destroyed. Germany was occupied by the Allied forces, and the big question was how can this country, how can Germany move on from the dictatorship that ruled over it 12 years? How can Germany find its way back into being a democracy? So the Allied forces tasked 65 representatives with writing a constitution that would ensure exactly this. And the big guideline for this was never again can we allow a dictatorship to take over our democracy. And this is exactly what they did. They came up with this constitution. It got approved, and it still stands 70 years later with the big first article that says human dignity shall be inviolable. That is the main article that overshines this entire constitution, and that is still in place today.
And if you understand the kinds of things that went on back then in Adolf Hitler's Germany, then you will appreciate the point that Malte makes. Now, let's look beyond the relevance of this constitution in Germany, Malte. How is this constitution uniquely relevant for these African countries that we've mentioned, including South Africa, Namibia, Cameroon, etc.?
Yes, exactly. This is exactly what the German constitution has become, a kind of a blueprint, a guideline for other countries who have to reorganize their political system. What can we learn from the German constitution? I mean, a really good example on this is South Africa, who in 1994, with the end of apartheid, was in a similar situation to Germany after the Second World War. You know, they came from a dark time. They came from something they wanted to leave behind, and the German constitution, in a way, showed a way how this can work, how you can reorganize your entire political system. So that's why we still today find elements of the German constitution in South Africa's constitution, and in that, as you mentioned, of other African countries as well.
And so the 70 years on, this law is still in force in Germany. The other African countries that took from this constitution are also still working. Let's look at the period under review, and how this particular constitution is being celebrated in Germany and these African countries that we've mentioned.
Yes, sure. There are of course events now that the 70th anniversary has rolled around, events that celebrate it. But what it really is a time to appreciate something that has been always there for many people. You know, the German constitution is more than twice as old as me. When I was born, it was already there, and it's something that ensures everyday life in Germany, basically, that ensures that, you know, I can live in freedom, that I can you know, go to work every day and don't fear for anything. I think this is really what the German constitution means, and now this anniversary, the 70th anniversary, that's of course a time where people think about that and become aware of something that always surrounds them and is always there and has always protected them and their rights in a way.
And I believe that this also serves as a reminder to everybody, I mean, across the world, about the things that happened during Hitler's reign and how the never again is even also relevant in these times. Malte, thank you very much for that information. Malte Rover Kalman is DW reporter. He joined us all the way from Germany here on The Pulse. If you didn't know much about the German constitution, well, now you know, and you know that it has connection with African countries as well.